Hey, what's up, guys? Tyler here. Tonight is the first round of the NFL draft taking place from Detroit, Michigan, and I'm going to offer up my predictions on what I think is going to happen tonight. It's probably not going to go even close to maybe 50% of what I think. And I don't have any inside sources or anything like that. It's just different analysis that I've heard from the talking heads on TV and their inside sources. So that's kind of the preface there. Some personal news. I don't know if I've told you guys, but I got married a little over a month ago, and I've since moved in with my wife, Krista, and here we are. This is where I live now. So, a little personal update there. So tonight starts with the Chicago Bears at the number 1 overall pick, and they also have the 9th overall pick, and I'll get more into that later. They're going to pick Caleb Williams out of USC. I don't have any inkling that they're going to pick anybody else, so it's going to be Caleb Williams there. Washington Commanders, I think with all the smoke screens and everything, I think they'll still get Jaden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. That's pretty much a slam dunk too. The Patriots need a quarterback. They'll get Drake May, quarterback out of the University of North Carolina. Go Heels. And then the Arizona Cardinals, I think they'll field offers for that 4th overall pick, but I don't think they'll trade down. I think they'll stay where they are and pick wide receiver out of Ohio State, Marvin Harrison Jr. And that's crazy to me because I remember watching his dad growing up torch all sorts of people with Peyton Manning as the quarterbacks. So the legacy continues. Now, here's where I think it'll start getting interesting with potential activity. The Chargers at 5th overall, they do not need a quarterback. They need skill position players. They need wide receiver because they've let a couple of them go, and they let Austin Eckler walk in free agency, so they've got to start recouping skill position players and maybe even offensive line as well. I think they will trade the 5th overall pick to the Minnesota Vikings, and the Vikings are going to move up and trade away the 11th overall pick and the 23rd overall pick to get there, because then you don't really have to mess around too much with additional draft compensation. So at 5th overall, I think the Vikings will draft J.J. McCarthy, quarterback out of Michigan, because they need a long-term quarterback as well. And I think the Giants are going to stay where they are at 6th overall, and they're going to take wide receiver out of LSU, Malik Neighbors. He's got great skills. Can't go wrong there. And then I think the Titans will stay where they are and take Joe Alt, tackle out of Notre Dame. And where else I think it'll get interesting is at maybe not 8th overall. I don't think Atlanta is going to move out of their spot where they are. And I think the Falcons are going to probably take Byron Murphy II, defensive tackle out of Texas, in their organic spot. But where I do think it will get more interesting is the Chicago Bears have the 9th overall pick. And there's rumors that a team late in the first round is going to try and trade up to draft one of these wide receivers in this deep class of this year. So I think it's going to be the Chicago Bears are going to trade back, and they'll trade with the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills, they really need a wide receiver. So I think personally they are going to take... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go off the beaten path here. I think they'll take Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia. I don't really... They need skill position players, and... Actually, no. There's another wide receiver that would be ahead of him that I think will still be there. Rome Aduzier, wide receiver out of Washington. So I think that's who the Buffalo Bills are going to take. I think they got a couple tight ends already, so drafting Bowers really wouldn't make sense. So, but I do think the New York Jets are going to draft Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia, with their pick. And then the 11th overall pick would be the Chargers. And I think they're going to go with Dallas Turner out of Alabama in their move down spot. And then the Denver Broncos, I think, man, it's tough because I could see them going in a few different directions, I think. But I think they know they need a long-term quarterback, and I don't think Zach Wilson is going to be that guy, even coming in on like a prove-it type of thing. I think they're going to draft Michael Penix Jr., quarterback out of Washington. I know it's a reach because he's more of a late first round, early second round grade, but I think he's got the skills that the Broncos are going to need to try and turn their fortunes around. And I don't know, just there's a lot that needs to happen there. And then I think the Raiders, if they truly want to reach for a quarterback, they'll probably take a chance on Bo Nix. The Raiders have a history in recent years of reaching for players. So I think that's probably what they're going to end up doing with their pick. And then that leaves us now at the 14th overall pick with the New Orleans Saints. I think they'll take Talesi Fuega, offensive tackle out of Oregon State. I probably butchered the name, and if so, I apologize to him. Hopefully Roger Goodell doesn't butcher it. And then the Colts have their next pick, and I think they'll go at 15 with Olumide Fashanu, tackle out of Penn State, because that would be a good spot for them as well. And then now we're at 16 overall with the Seattle Seahawks. I think they'll go with Terrion Arnold, cornerback out of Alabama. And at 17, I think the Jaguars are going to take Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo. That'd be, I think, a pretty good pick for them. 18th overall is the Cincinnati Bengals, that had a terrible year last year. Now they've got two of their big-time players requesting trades to get out of there. Maybe that could play into some developments tonight. Probably not, but it could. Trey Hendrickson and T. Higgins have both requested trades recently, so we'll see how that goes. But I think at their pick, they'll take Jared Verse, defensive end out of Florida State. I've seen that guy play a few times. He's as good as they get at defensive end. Then that leaves the LA Rams at the 19th overall slot. Pretty much all the quarterback prospects are going to be gone that arguably could go in the first couple rounds. So I think they'll go offensive line, Graham Barton, lineman out of Duke University. That leaves us at the Steelers now. At the 20th overall pick, I think they'll take Troy Fantino, offensive lineman out of Washington, with their pick. And then at 21st overall is the Miami Dolphins, who got slaughtered here at Arrowhead in just horribly cold temperatures. Thoughts and prayers with those that have had amputations because of that game. Hopefully everybody's recovering well from that, relatively speaking anyway. I don't know. Some people have the Dolphins drafting a wide receiver at that slot, but I don't think they can really get away with that. They're going to need some guys on defense because some of their more experienced defensive players are kind of getting up there. So I think they'll take Latu, linebacker out of UCLA. I think he's mostly been an outside linebacker, so I think that's who they'll pick. Now we're at the Philadelphia Eagles with their pick at 22nd overall. I think they'll take Xavier Worthy, wide receiver out of Texas. I think this is where a lot of those wide receivers are going to start coming off the board because arguably the Eagles could always use another weapon. So we'll kind of see how that goes. At 23rd overall would be the second of the projected Chargers picks. And I think they'll go with Tyler Guyton, tackle out of Oklahoma, with their pick, the second pick there. The Dallas Cowboys, yeah, still got a Dak situation with the contract extension that they need to work out. But I think they'll take Amarius Mims, tackle out of Georgia, with their pick. And then there's the Packers at 25th overall. I think they'll go Cooper DeJean, cornerback out of Iowa, with that pick, which hopefully will make Ty Schmidt from the Pat McAfee Show happy, going from Iowa, his favorite college team, to the Green Bay Packers, his favorite NFL team. But enough about that. Then there's Tampa Bay at 26th overall. I think they'll go Chop Robinson, edge rusher from Penn State. And then at the 27th overall pick, I think the Cardinals, they could trade that pick, but to who, I have no idea. So I think they'll stay put where they are. And I don't think they'll go wide receiver again. I think they'll take Jordan Morgan, tackle out of Arizona, with that pick. At 28th overall, if the Bills don't make any trades, I think they'll go Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver out of LSU, with that pick. And then there's Detroit, the host city, picking at 29th overall. I think they're going to go with Darius Robinson, edge rusher out of MIZZOU, a.k.a. the Zoo. Go Tigers. I had to make the plug. I'm sorry, y'all. And then at 30th overall is the Baltimore Ravens. I think they'll go... oh geez, where's my screen? I think the Ravens, I can see them going a few different directions here. They're going to lose Odell in free agency, I believe, or he might have 1 year left. I don't remember. I think he's a free agent. But they could go offensive line, or somewhere on defense. I think they'll probably go Nate Wiggins, cornerback out of Clemson, because I think they'll go with defense with their pick. Then at 31 overall, the 49ers, the runner-up in the NFL this year, I think they'll take Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback out of Alabama. Yeah, there'll be some picks out of Alabama, but not all of them. And then at 32 overall is this reigning and defending last 2 times Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, picking Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver out of Texas. Don't know how many games Rashee Rice is going to be suspended this year, but that is an expectation this year. We did bring in Marquise Hollywood Brown, basically to replace Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Don't really know what we're going to get with Kadarius Toney, considering he was pretty much MIA towards the end of last year. We got a few other guys, but definitely doesn't hurt to bring in a guy that, you know, could help us on the perimeter. So those are my picks for tonight. I'll try to catch maybe some of it. I'm not sure, but 32 names will be called tonight, and hopefully 32 dreams will get to be lived out starting tonight. So until next time, have a great day, guys, and God bless you.